So what do you do for fun? I know you have really, really leaned into fitness and running. And you've been posting about that every day, and I've been following you. We talked about it the other day, and I just think it's absolutely amazing. So
and you
what do you do?
inspired me, by the
I
way.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
We talked about that. I had no idea. And we said, you never know who's watching you or looking at what you're doing or who you're inspiring. You know, just put out positivity, put out what your life is, and hopefully, you know, someone can gain something from it. That's partially why I post as well. I do post about business. I post about family. But I also like to, you know, let people know, hey, look, if I can do it, you can do it. That's not a negative thing.
No.
People are like, oh, well, if you could do it, I could do it. And I'm like, yeah, you can. You should go for it.
Yeah, but people who are in victim mentality will take it the wrong way, right? They think like they take it personal. If I can do it, you can do it. Like, what do you mean by that? They take it the wrong way. And what we're really trying to say is that there is no difference between you and I.
100%.
We're just out there taking action, right?
Yep.
And we're kind of showing you guys, I do the same thing that you do. And one of the things I do respect about both of us is that we're very business oriented when we post on social media, but we always have to show that human component. Like, I see you spending time with your family. I see the running, right? That really inspired me to start my running journey. And aside from running, you know, I do surfing. I'm always by anything to do with the beach that, you know, feeds my soul.
Love it.
So
yeah, you went from West Coast to East Coast, but you're still by the water.
I'm still by the water.
Yeah.
And I get to homeschool Alex, my son. So that's been a game changer for me. I really enjoy that as a hobby because I learned so much where, you know, we get to learn together.
So fun. So you're into fitness, you're into surfing,
Right.
you're a mom,
I am.
you're obviously involved in business, but what else do you like to do to enjoy your time?
I would say obviously traveling, that opens up your perspective in many ways and just, you know, so much gratitude. And honestly, business. I enjoy what I do for a living.
Same.
So I could do this all day, every day. Like, this is fun, right? This isn't a side, you know, hustle. I live and breathe real estate and I enjoy it.
100%. I'm going to pound that out.
Yep.
Okay, focus. Opportunity. One opportunity, Stephanie, that changed the course of your career or life. One situation, one mentor, one fail, one win.
There's been a lot, right? I've been in the business for over 15 years. Although I'm young, I started pretty young. But I would say like the ADU game. So in 2017, when I was working as a buyer's agent with my brother, you know, we're doing about 60 to 70 deals a year.
What's your brother's name?
Ray.
Shout out Ray.
Shout out to Ray. That's right. We were closing a lot of deals. I was working the buy side, and I found myself not knowing enough about development, right? That was when ADUs had just started. And, you know, and working with some of the contractors that weren't doing what they said they were doing, it really opened my eyes to seeing the opportunity. Like, oh, okay, I just have to do what I say I'm going to do, and I have to have integrity.
It's amazing.
I'm in, right? Like, I'm going to focus my niche, and that's going to be it. My niche is going to be ADUs. And when I decided to just do that, I started focusing all my energy on building community, you know, hosting events. That was the best way to vet people and build these relationships, because I got to see who was doing the majority of the business in that hyper-local area. So I've been able to do, you know, multiple ADU meetups. That's really helped me grow my business. And yeah, now I that was like a pivotal point, I think, in my career, 2017.
Love it.
So,
Laws.
yeah.
Laws, and then you essentially realizing, hey, look, there's a lot of, you know, people out here that are full of shit.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of yahoos. There's a lot of, I mean, everyone kind of knows that there's an 80-20 rule, I think, in business. I think contractors in general, you know, it's more difficult to find a good one than it is to find a bad one, I would say. But you recognizing that opportunity and saying, hey, look, this space needs good people.
Right.
And there's a new space. So you're coupling those things and saying, hey, I'm going to lean into this.
Exactly.
Love it. Okay, communication. So huge networker, very big on social. You're full of energy and everyone likes you when they meet you. So tell me one communication tip, Steph, that you would give to the people that they could pick up from you, or something you've learned that's helped you, or kind of the way you approach it. If someone is maybe an introvert, more introverted than you and I, something that you could share.
Yeah, I mean, the psychology, right, of understanding people and meeting them where they're at. I think that's one thing that's helped me, is meeting people where they're at in their current situation and their current state of mind, their emotional intelligence. You kind of have to be a chameleon, right, and understand people, different personality types. It really is a psychological game at its core, but there has to be that human component, right, which is why AI can only take us so far, because people still want to be seen. They still want you to be empathetic with them. They still want to feel that they're being understood, right? So
by another
that can be
human.
different, by another human.
Yes.
Yeah, and that they're trusting you. So the trust factor is huge, right? But you can't build that without that human component. So I think meeting people where they're at, whether it's a tenant who's struggling, a landlord who's not cash flowing, everybody has different motives, you know, and so just meet people where they're at. I think that's the best way to communicate, and communicate fast. Like, I think success and money and opportunities love speed. So you need to make decisions quickly. You need to relay data and information quickly, get out of your head, and just communicate.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best answers I've ever heard.
Wow.
I think meeting people where they are is a very, very powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
I think it comes from a place of empathy as well, which I think is the human aspect of it. Just obviously you want to be successful at what you're doing. Obviously you don't want to waste time. Obviously you want to connect and see if there's a way someone can do business, right? That's all fair. That's a part of why people go to meetups and do what they do. And that's why people go to business events, etc. But at the same time, if you're trying to meet someone where they are, it's like you're creating the bridge. You're the one going out of your way to be like, hey, this is where this person is at. I'm going to meet them.
Right.
And you're essentially extending that olive branch. And I think over time, you get those reps. A, you get better at it. And B, what happens is you'll start to build relationships easier and easier and easier. And you'll also be able to know when to walk away.
Oh my God.
Quicker.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know one of the questions that you're going to ask me, and we'll get to that, but it's learning how to say no, right, sooner. I think that's one thing that I probably should have learned earlier, but you can't until you put in those reps. That's when you understand how to read people, and whether you want to go into partnerships with them, whether you want to do business with them, whether you want to collaborate with people.
Yeah,
right?
I saw a reel the other day, actually, and it said, you know, fortune favors the bold is one of the quotes that I live by in my life, but there's also, you know, an understanding out there that society as a whole favors someone that's willing to reach out or take the first step. Right? You can talk about relationships in dating, in marriage, in business, door knockers, people that are willing to, you know, go out there and make it happen. Guy acquisition agents. If you can go out and sell and create business, I mean, salespeople are the last people to get fired. So I 100%. Think there's something to that, and I think that's an amazing answer. Meet people where they are, I think, is huge for communication. Going out and being like, hey, look, how can I help this person? What thing? Because I get that answer a lot. It's like coming from a place of how can I create value for you?
Right.
You're saying it a different way. Meet them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Not what you think is value for them.
Yeah.
Like, meet them where they are.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Understanding. One thing that you wish you understood early in your career, Steph, that you understand now.
That was the one.
That's the one.
Yeah, that was the one that I was referring to about if I wish that I could go back in time and just learn how to say no sooner. I think many times when you're starting off in business, you think that you're missing an opportunity. So you kind of just want to do it all, juggle it all. And just focusing on a few things is a lot better use of your time than trying to do it all, because you end up doing nothing.
I have an interesting take on that. I've heard that, and I've been hearing it more lately. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna save it though. I'm gonna save it though. I think when you're early in your career, you haven't earned the right to say no. I think when you're fresh, you know, suit and tie and the smile, and they say get to work, I think you just say yes and you get after it. And you absorb, sponge. You ask a lot of questions, and people ask you to do stuff, you do it.
Right.
That's my opinion.
No, and I agree with that, because I think that's why
I think you earn the right, Steph. You earn the right to be able to say no. Hey, look, I know I've tried these 1,000 things. Mm-hmm. I'm now going to niche in on this space with these 3 options.
Right.
And if it's outside or it doesn't filter in, I'm probably going to say no.
And I wouldn't have learned how to say no had I not gone through that and put in the reps and put in the work. So yes, to your point, you have to earn the right to get to a point where you can say no.
But then when you do get there, recognizing that and actually doing it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, love that. Yeah. Okay, we talked about understanding. Let's talk about the S, which is success. You've had some success in your life. You built an online brand. You've sold some real estate. Yep. You have some property management under your belt. You know, you're very familiar in the ADU game. You have clients coming to you for advice.
Right.
Tell me kind of what you attribute your success to.
I would say resilience. I know that word is thrown out a lot, but it really is that. It's the resilience, consistency, and the community, that aspect of it. I really enjoy building community, and because I'm naturally good at it, I think as a byproduct, that's been attributed to my success, is just being able to be people.
Love it. Okay, let's move into a question that is, tell me one challenge or fail or loss you've had in your career, what it felt like then, and kind of how you worked through it.
Okay.
And what it feels like now, how you're using it, and how you've used it to grow from, looking back on it.
I would say going through my divorce in 2017, 2016. So that was like a tough moment in my life. I wasn't licensed yet. I had a lot of limited beliefs around, if I could do it. Prior to that, I was doing a lot of property management, but I just didn't have the right support system from my significant other at the time. So we got divorced, and that was a huge setback, because as a woman, when you get married, you don't think about a plan B. You don't think about going through a divorce. So I think that was a huge setback in my life, personally and business-wise, because whatever you're going through personally is going to 100% affect you in business. That's why we run. That's why we have habits in place to put us in a higher frequency so we can now perform in business, right? And so that was a huge setback. And I would say, what did I learn from then now is I had to go through that. I'm so grateful that I went through that, because I wouldn't be as resilient as I am now. I was forced to put myself in a position where now that I'm divorced and I'm a single parent, I have to make it work. And so when your back is up against the wall like that, you think that at that time I thought things were happening to me, right? I was in victim mode. Now I'm no, you've sort of attracted that shit, for you. And so now how are you gonna, take these lessons and sort of mold yourself into the person that you want to become? So
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think challenges are so important.
So important.
In the big picture of the journey.
They're growing pains, but you don't see them as that when you're going through it.
No, it's pain, and it's stress, and it's fear, and it's, embarrassment, and what are people going to think? And it's all the stuff that's happening in your head. And then if there's money problems, you got that, and then time suck to figure all that out.
Right.
There's so much that's involved in that, but then when you look back, you say, hey, I needed that, or that was the right thing for me, or this is what I can take away from that. Right. So if I see these other things, now I know that's a red flag. Experience, time in the saddle, there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it.
All right, so let's talk about some fun stuff here. You're in the ADU space. I'm a partner company called ADU Pals, so we speak the same language when it comes to ADUs. As you are, Steph, I'm a believer in abundance. I think it's really, how can I say this? I don't think it's insecurity. I think it's inexperience. When you think in scarcity, you need more experience, because when you've actually worked 80, 100 hour weeks,
right,
for weeks in a row, you realize there's way more business that's ever going to be done than I can ever do. There's just more ADUs that are ever going to be sold. There's more contracts. There's people that need to learn how to invest. There's more podcasts, right? There's just more out there. And so I enjoy when I just reach out to you. I'm this girl seems amazing, woman seems amazing, and she's in the same space as me. Let's be friends.
Right.
And we hit it off, right? And we haven't done business together yet, but we might not, but it doesn't matter, because you're awesome. So I want to have awesome people in my life.
We will do business together, because that's what ends up happening. Those are the best partnerships. Those are the best deals that come together, and opportunities is when it starts off as a collaboration, because we respect each other mutually. I respect what you do 100%, right?
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Come out here.
Yeah.
And we speak the same language. We're very passionate about the ADU community and helping bring awareness. And California is paving the way, for all the other states to follow.
Agreed.
So we're really putting it out there. And so back to your point, I think we are going to do business together, because of the simple fact that we just know that there's enough business to go around. Love it.
Let's talk about ADUs and the opportunity and sort of what's going on. Can you explain that to the people, the power of what's happening with this ADU space in real estate and in California, and then, the broader country?
Yeah, I think ADUs provide a lot of flexibility for anybody, no matter where you're at. Again, going back to meeting people where they're at, right? Somebody who is struggling to put their parents in, let's say, assisted living, and doesn't want to pay or can't afford to pay $8,000 a month, but they have real estate, they have some equity, they can possibly do a reverse mortgage and, build an ADU and help their parents move into the ADU, and now they can have more of a co-living situation. That allows for flexibility, right? That's one way that you can utilize an ADU. You could be a first-time home buyer and you can't even afford a $6,000 payment right now. So you're looking at, how can I offset my monthly mortgage before I even buy the property? Okay, well, let me buy the property and convert the garage. Maybe you have, your kids coming back home from college. They can't afford to tap into this market. Most millennials cannot afford to buy. So then what can you do? If you have some space back there, why not build it? Maybe you want to create some passive income, right? For most of my investors, that has to be the play. That's why I call it the ADU play. You can't just buy real estate and not pencil in the ADU strategy, because most of the time, at least here in SoCal, it's just not going to make sense, right? You have to implement the ADU play. When we're talking multifamily, a lot of them are struggling right now with their loans, right? So how can they, just increase those profits? It has to be by adding more doors. So no matter where you're at, ADUs just allow for so much flexibility, which is why I think, I'm all for it. It just solves affordability and housing and everything in between.
Where do you see the best markets or the variables, AHJ versus AHJ? I know Long Beach is a great place for ADUs.
Right. Long Beach is paving the way, right? They've been doing more ADUs than any other county by far.
And then have you seen some people get stuck in some areas of LA, Orange County? Generally, I think San Diego is an amazing market for ADUs, but there are some places where they're not fond of them,
right?
Like Coronado. And
anywhere coastal, right? You're going to get pushback.